Hello everyone. I'm out here with the girly girls because we still have one female that's in heat, and I wanted her to have some playtime with everybody else. She's feeling pretty cooped up because typically we kind of do a like crate and rotate sort of thing when we have females in heat. Honestly, that's just for precaution's sake. The dog that's barking is Arrow, and it's because he knows she's out here. He's overly invested in females despite his young age. That's Watari. I figured I'd just do an update on the girls, at least, since they're out here with me. Hey, Watari. Pigeon. Pigeon. I don't know how this happened. I mean, Pomeranians are kind of unpredictable when it comes to size. I mean, it's good for us because we want to breed larger Poms, but Pigeon's parents were only like 5 pounds, and she is now 12 or 14 pounds. Yeah. She's gotten really big. There's Sassy. Sassy has not come into heat yet, so she hasn't been bred. Petal. Petals. Hibana. Hello, Hibana. Karu. There she is. Karus. She had a heat early. We have not had any of our Pom females have heat prior to almost a year old, but she's only 8 months, barely 8 months old, and she just had a heat. There's Kaki. Akaki, or Karkies, as we like to call her. As a joke, really. She likes to eat the foam stuff. We've been having to take it away from her. See what she's done to this thing? I think out of all the collies, except for maybe Hibana, she has been our worst chewer. There's Spoon. There's the lady that's in heat. Happy bread. A Polly. And Obi barking. Ever barking. You see her hair's growing back now from the rain rot. I didn't even treat her for a full week, I don't think. It was like 4 days, and she's all better now. Just growing the hair back. Love me. Looking beautiful. The ever beautiful Love me. Chishi. Our 2 girls. They haven't started a heat yet. But they definitely look like they should. Possibly. I mean, you never can truly tell, but look at Lolite staring me right in the face. Sacer is a lot like her mom. Lolite is kind of like between Love Me and Paladin personality wise. Both beautiful girls. Very happy with the way they've turned out. Very well put together. Temperament wise, if we were to be totally honest, we'd like them a little softer. But they're both very smart and very responsive to corrections. Their only problem, and this may just had to be with the fact that they came from Love Me, who is the top female, is just that they tend to boss around and try to bully the other dogs. Same with Paladin, he does the same thing. And that very well could just be because of who their parents are. Because of Love Me. Sorry, I'm itching a mosquito. Being the top female. Because when you have a pack of dogs like this, and they're breeding dogs, there is always, I don't want to call it an alpha pair, but the way it works is there's always a matriarch and a patriarch, the ones that are on top. And particularly with the females, there's always a top female. And their offspring then will usually have, how would you describe it? They're next in line. So they're usually always more privileged and more dominant than the other dogs, even if the other dogs are older than them. So like, for instance, we have Love Me, who's the top female. Starlight is number 2. She's like second in command. When Love Me isn't here, or Love Me has to be put up because she's in heat, or Love Me's not feeling the greatest, Starlight takes command. And then it's Lycoris. When Starlight, Love Me aren't feeling the greatest, it's Lycoris. So she's like number 3. Which is unusual because Lycoris, she's younger. She's younger than Hibana. You would expect usually it to go by age, right? It doesn't. It has to do with the temperament and where they, as they're growing, what place they gain. And they go through throes of choosing who's where and what. It's not a set thing. And as you introduce more dogs into a pack, it'll change a lot of times. Hibana, I can't really tell you exactly where she's placed. I think she's pretty much on the bottom. And that has to do with her personality. She's not a stable dog. So she gets put on the bottom. Stable dogs are always on the top, ranking as they've gained a position. And then your unstable and or nervous, high anxiety dogs, they tend to be on the bottom. There's Vice, the bulldog. Yeah. We've been having some problems with him, but nothing new. He's a bulldog. These two, they love each other. I don't know where they're gonna rank, to be honest. They're still young. They haven't showed much interest in deciding where they're supposed to be. But if I had to guess, Spoon is going to be below Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi has been trying to decide on a position for herself. But that's just a guess right now. I need to go find that puppy. So we got a puppy recently. Let's see if I can go find her. I know she's up here somewhere. I thought she followed me, but I think she turned around and when I wasn't looking. Starlight is pregnant as of right now. We have had some fertility issues in both the males and the females this year. I will say it's been a weird year in the reproductive sense. Weird heats, males losing their sperm production randomly for no particular reason. It doesn't seem to be exclusive to ourselves because we've seen other breeders having the same problem. And that is the thing. There are years where it just gets wonky. But yeah, see, she's on the porch and she thinks she's by herself. It's okay, I'm right here. Come here. There she comes. There she is. There she is. There's a good girl. You're okay. Come on. Let's go play. Don't pick on her. They're underneath my feet. Alright. Pigeon, don't pick on her. Thank you. I might just pick her up for a second because she kind of freaked out. Thought she was by herself. I'm not doing that to cuddle her. I'm picking her up to keep her safe from the other dogs, because dogs as predators will naturally pick on weak or unstable energy. And right now she's unstable because she got scared by being by herself. So I'm just going to pick her up. I'm holding her in a very neutral position. So I'm not coddling her, just getting her to calm down. And once she's calm, I'll set her down again. I'm also going to drop this ball, so I don't have to carry that around. Get that Paddles. Paddles probably going to be on the bottom. And I say that because she has a very soft temperament. She's playful. She doesn't care to get in trouble. And that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to have a dog that's on the bottom, because it means they're easier to deal with. Love Me, y'all know she's our favorite, yet somehow she ended up being the alpha female. That has to do with the fact that she is what you would consider stable dominant. She's not unstable. She's not extreme in her dominance, but she is dominant. She's just very quiet about it. She's not like Starlight. Starlight's loud about her dominance. She's very pushy. She throws people around. Love Me doesn't do that. And she doesn't have to, because she gets her point across very easily. I don't know about Cocky. To be honest, Cocky is interesting. She's a very interesting one. She is actually... She comes from a bloodline that we were trying to track and figure out. Y'all know Love Me's white face, right? The half white face. We were trying to figure out where that came from, and we believe we finally found it. And Cocky is actually from the dogs that we think have it. It's Marlboro lines. And Love Me has it. Kazahana has it. They have Marlboro. She's from those lines, and we think that's where it came from. You can see she has a partial white face, but whether that's due to Whitehead, what Love Me has and what Kazahana has, or whether that's from the piebald, because she's homozygous piebald, not sure, but it definitely looks Whitehead. Nice pigeon. Alright, I'm gonna set you down. This one's a Pomeranian. She's blue. Hey, Cocky. Don't you be ugly. No, I'm gonna take that. Thank you. Blue, aka Dilute. Tan Point. She looks black, but she's not. She is a very dark Dilute, which technically, when you're breeding Dilutes, that's what you want. You want the dark ones. And I say that because they seem to be far less prone to alopecia. There she is. They usually have softer coats. I haven't seen alopecia on a really dark one, but I could be wrong about that. they just seem to be less prone to it. Kedu, she's lavender, what they call lavender. So she's dilute in brown, which most people call chocolate. It's called brown. Scientifically, it's called brown. So she's both brown and dilute. She's also seal. That's why she looks so white. Her tail is crazy. She looks like a skunk. Y'all might not be able to see that on my phone camera. She may or may not have alopecia. I clipped her hair. What you do with dogs that may or may not develop alopecia is to clip a spot on their body down to the skin, meaning use clippers, and just shear it down to the skin and see how well it grows back and how quickly it grows back, or if it even does. If it stays bald, then that's alopecia. And I clipped her and it grew back within like 2 weeks, started growing back. So I don't think she has it, but I will say her hair is tackier than what I would like. So in the case of one like her, what we would do is breed her to dilute lines if we wanted blues or lavenders that have softer, better hair. That doesn't negate the possibility for alopecia, because all the studies currently, dilute alopecia, black alopecia, alopecia as a whole is recessive. So, and it's not, they don't have a test for it as of yet. Be really happy when they do. And recessive just means that you could have two dogs that carry a copy and you breed them together and you end up with affected dogs. Some affected, some non-affected. So yeah, you could have perfectly healthy looking coats on two dilute dogs, breed them together, but because they had the recessive gene, you end up with alopecia. Which, alopecia is just, the dog will lose hair. There's nothing else associated with it, as far as I am aware, as far as I could find. They have ugly coats. This is what it is. Otherwise, they're fine. Kedu, actually, initially I really kind of didn't like her coat color. I had never had a lavender. We had never had a lavender. But I really kind of like it now because she kind of looks like a werewolf. Especially with the seal on top. She looks like a werewolf color. I don't know what that means exactly to everyone, but yeah, she's kind of werewolfy colored. It's quite neat. I say, sir, looking beautiful and sassy. And Sear, we updated. Sear is also pregnant. She's not enjoying being pregnant, but she's pregnant. I say that in the sense that it's made her very angry. She's been rude to the other dogs, and she doesn't want to eat, but she'll eat even though she doesn't want to. Starlight's like the total opposite. Oh, there she is. Over there. Starlight normally is, like I said, Gestapo. She's after all the dogs all the time, and I would describe her as kind of angry. But now that she's pregnant, she's like sad. She's just sad all the time. Laying down in the yard and just looking like a lump. And sleeping on the couch all day, and all she wants to do is eat. It's a weird polar opposite with the two of them. And Chichi again. And Spoonie. For anyone who's new, Spoon is a merle. She doesn't look like she is, but she is. She's what a lot of people call a minimal merle. We haven't had her tested yet as to what length of merle she has that has caused her to be minimal. But according to everything that we can find, she is either Harlequin, which would be unusual because her parents, I think it was her sire was the merle. I don't remember. Didn't look Harlequin. It's more likely that she's a low length merle, which is really cool. Boy, who's in the woods? Watari? Is it Watari? No. Suki? I think it's Suki. And Lawlite, we've gotten some more potential information on that. Again, still haven't tested. We've had other things going on. Other things we've had to put funds to. There's always something, but we'll get to it. But Lawlite, I don't think is Harlequin. What I think happened, and y'all may not understand this, because most information out there on merle is very limited, but we have there was a lady who decided to pioneer, I'm trying to get out of the sun, to pioneer research into merle lengths and how that constitutes then the way it looks, what lengths produce more white, etc. There are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lengths of merle. No, there's been a 7th one identified, but that one has not been researched because it's the first one that's been found. There are 6 different lengths of merle, and each length displays differently. As a whole, there are variances because what it is there are brackets of numbers that constitutes a length of merle. So if I were to say MA, that's how it's listed, is a length of merle, and there's MA plus. MA plus is in a slightly higher bracket than MA, and it looks different. It also looks different than when combined with another merle. I'll get back to that because, oh my god, double merle, right? As we found out now, double merle is not a good terminology, because there are a lot of dogs that are double merle, but they are not affected by white, and that's because they are low-length merles. Low-length merles are safe to breed together. I say safe because there's always the risk of merle introducing white. But the low-length ones, they don't typically do that. So Lawlite, back to that, I don't think she's Harlequin. I think that she has 2 at least, but she probably has more different lengths of merle. She has a higher length of merle, and then she has a lower length of merle, like MA. I think what she is she is either like MC plus or MA on top of regular. It's called atypical merle, which is just M. And that's what all the other stuff is. Could be wrong, because until we test her, we won't know. And it is harder to test females. I lost my puppy again. I think she went over into the woods with somebody. Pigeon! Come on! Anyway. So how did that happen? Lubby's not merle. Mana is, quote unquote, double merle. not a good word. He's homozygous Merle, we know that for a fact, but he could also have multiple different lengths and we just don't know it. He hasn't been tested, but both his parents were Merle. So what happens, say with a dog that, like Mana, we're just going to assume that both his parents were regular Merle, atypical M Merle. With a dog like that, the thing is, and this can happen with even just a regular Merle dog. Where'd Spoon go? Just a regular Merle dog. She has one copy Merle. What can happen is when they have offspring, during the complicatedness of what happens when a puppy is conceived, the color, the actual Merle gene is so unstable that it can mutate or split off into a different length of Merle. So you end up with a dog that ordinarily you would say you had a regular non-Merle parent and you had one Merle parent, and then you have a puppy that pops out that's a weird Merle color. It's most likely because either that parent was carrying that other length of Merle on top of what they already had, or the puppy itself, during the splitting of everything, of the egg and genes and blah blah blah, the Merle mutated into a different length. So technically she could have 3 different lengths of Merle. So she's no longer double Merle or homozygous Merle. She's triple Merle. That's how that happens. Merle is very unstable. It can do all sorts of crazy stuff. That doesn't make it scary. Testing, yes, for Merle lengths is important. Very important, because you don't want to breed high lengths of Merle together. But there are dogs, like Petal. She could be Merle. You would think she wouldn't be, right? But MC, a different length of Merle, you can't see it on the dog. It's what they call cryptic Merle. You can't see it. But when combined with a regular length Merle, like Mana or like Starlight, it creates what is called a lot of people call them mosaics. Mosaics is actually down to the genetics itself and how the egg splits with the Merle and all that. So true mosaics, that would be kind of hard to identify, but it creates basically a calico looking dog when you combine low lengths with atypical. It is not suggested you breed low lengths to anything higher than an atypical, such as don't combine it with Harlequin. Harlequin causes a lot of white. That's where the deafness comes from. Is all the white. And the reason why in double Merle dogs the eyes then have issues is because of the deletion of pigment in the eyes, and that comes from too much white being thrown by those lengths of Merle. But low lengths of Merle, pretty well safe to either breed together or breed to a atypical. Calico looking dogs, I was mentioning that. If you look up Catahoulas, they look beautiful. They have a lot of dogs that are calico looking. That's because most of them have 2 or more copies of Merle. And they combine to create those interesting patterns. I think Sacer's just atypical, but she's a very pretty atypical Merle. Aren't you, Sacer? You're a pretty girl. Look at that pretty dog. It's a preemie girl. Yes, she is. Whoa. Oh, there's my puppy. She followed me. There's my puppy. It's a pommy puppy. I didn't think I was going to go into Merle, but I did it anyway. I was just updating on the girls. They're all doing good. LaCourse hasn't gone into heat yet. Sassy hasn't gone into heat yet. Not yet, but we'll get there. But Sear and Starlight are pregnant for now. There's been a lot of dogs getting pregnant and losing the pregnancies or having false pregnancies this year. So anything could happen, but they're doing good currently. And I think that's it on the beautiful ladies. I don't know what cat is doing. Eating cat poop, I think. I love me. So that's it. Sayonara. Talk to you guys another time.